The rain poured steadily over the metallic rooftops of New Carthage, the great trade hub between human colonies and allied alien settlements. Neon lights shimmered on the puddles, casting hues of red, green, and blue into the streets below. To most humans, it was a familiar and comforting sight, a city alive with color. But to Elira, the alien girl standing quietly under the awning of a vendor's stall, it was nothing more than shifting shades of dull gray. Her people, the Veres, were born without the ability to perceive colors. For them, the world was a spectrum of shadows and light, functional, sharp, but lifeless in ways they could never quite articulate. Her father had sent her here to study human sciences and diplomacy, but secretly, Elira envied the very thing humans seemed to take for granted: their vision of color. She'd overheard them describe the blue of the sky, the golden warmth of the sun, and the emerald green of fields. The words held meaning, yes, but no shape in her mind. It was like listening to music without ever hearing a note. And then came Elias. He was not a diplomat, nor a soldier, nor a scientist of renown. Elias was simply an engineer, tinkering with optics and mechanical parts in his workshop at the edge of the city. He was tall, unshaven, often stained with oil from his work, and always half smiling as though the universe itself amused him. Elira had met him by chance when her transport malfunctioned near his shop. He repaired it without charge, more interested in her than her money. Over weeks, their paths crossed again and again, until conversations turned into friendship. And in one of those conversations, Elira confessed her deepest longing. "I want to see the way you see," she said one evening, her voice low, hesitant. "To know what color truly is." Elias had paused, tools in hand. He studied her with the same curiosity he gave to machines, but softer, warmer. "What if I told you," he murmured, "that maybe I could help with that?" The experiment. For days, Elias buried himself in research. He studied Veres' anatomy, the differences in their ocular structure, and the way their brains processed visual data. Where humans had 3 types of photoreceptor cells, the Veres had only one. Their sight was efficient for survival but blind to wavelengths that carried the richness of color. The solution, he theorized, wasn't to change her biology but to bend light itself into something she could interpret. If he could create an optical device that mapped human visible wavelengths into intensities her eyes could detect differently, perhaps her brain would learn to assign meaning where there had been none. It was an insane idea. Most scientists would scoff. But Elias loved impossible challenges. He crafted a prototype, a set of lenses embedded into sleek frames, layered with filters, nanosensors, and a tiny processor that translated colors into subtle differences in brightness, texture, and pattern. It wouldn't be instant. Elira would have to learn what each change meant. But over time her brain might adapt. When he finally presented them to her, she held them as though they were sacred. "Glasses," Elias said simply, shrugging. "A little human trick. Want to give them a try?" Her hands trembled as she put them on. First, nothing seemed different. The world was still gray. But then, faintly, she noticed a patch of sky above the city that seemed different. Not brighter, not darker, but alive in a way she couldn't name. Her breath caught. She turned her head, and the neon sign of a diner flickered with hues she had never known. The sensation hit her like a wave. Her heart raced, her mind dizzy with the overload of new input. It was overwhelming, frightening, and exhilarating all at once. "Elias," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "The world, it's changing." He grinned, pride shining in his gaze. "No, Elira. You're changing. Learning color." Over the weeks that followed, Elias became her guide into this new world. Every day, He took her somewhere different to introduce her to the language of color. In the park he pointed to the flowers. This one's red. That one's yellow. Together they're bright like a fire in bloom. On the bridge at sunset, he gestured to the horizon. That's orange melting into purple. Humans call it twilight. We chase moments like this. At night, he showed her the signs glowing along the streets. Blue, green, pink. Some say they're loud colors, shouting for attention. Alira absorbed it all eagerly. Each discovery was like tasting a new flavor or hearing a new sound. Slowly, her mind built connections. Red meant warmth, danger, passion. Blue meant calm, depth, distance. Green meant life. One evening, Elias brought her a gift. A small crystal pendant hanging on a chain. Through her glasses, it shimmered in 1,000 colors, refracting the light into patterns she couldn't look away from. It's called a prism, he said. A reminder that sometimes, beauty comes from breaking light apart. Alira clutched it close, overwhelmed by gratitude. To her people, such things were meaningless trinkets. To her, it was proof that she was no longer bound by the limits of her birth. But not everyone approved. The tension. Word spread among the Veres delegation that Alira was indulging in human illusions. They said colors were not real, merely a human perception, a distraction from truth. Her father, a stern diplomat, confronted her one night. You were sent here to learn from humans, he said, not to be corrupted by their fantasies. Alira stood tall, clutching the glasses in her hand. If this is fantasy, then let me dream, Father. For the first time I feel as though I understand what humans mean when they speak of beauty. Why should I be denied that? Her father's expression softened, though his voice remained firm. Your people will not accept this. Then perhaps they are blind in more ways than one, she replied quietly. Elias, listening from the shadows, said nothing. But his heart ached for her. Trouble struck sooner than expected. During a cultural exhibition in the city, Alira was chosen to speak on behalf of the Veres. Representatives from dozens of colonies gathered, eager to hear her perspective. As she stood at the podium, her glasses resting on her face, she froze. Should she speak the safe words her people expected, or should she share the truth she had discovered? Elias, seated in the back, caught her gaze. He gave no signal, no push, only a quiet nod as if to say, the choice is yours. Taking a deep breath, Alira began. My people have always believed the universe is gray, that light is nothing more than a measure of brightness. But humans showed me something different. They showed me color. First I thought it was trickery, but now I know it is a new way of seeing, a new way of understanding. The crowd murmured. Some leaned forward intrigued. Others frowned. Through these lenses, she continued, lifting her glasses, I have seen sunsets that moved me to tears, fields of green that spoke of life, skies of blue that gave me peace. If this is an illusion, then it is one worth embracing. Because sometimes truth is not only what we are born with, it is what we choose to discover. Silence fell. Then, slowly, applause spread across the hall. Not everyone clapped, but enough did. Her words had resonated. In that moment, Alira realized she was no longer just a student or a diplomat's daughter. She was a bridge between worlds,